Dolmu forol leti wala nan ko bam far maralla tetulu nan na froyala ay den fay man na froya fay dolmu forol leti wole mu doyti wodum badi on balwi kondonna bi tenal lunguraro la Angleterre banko kajang be kacha natiralde kacha membe dending doyla patiola joma nyolle menne nyaatum kulti doylo dam meneti anim fo doy si gagné no le Good evening, viewers. It is a warm Monday evening here in the UK. Welcome back on Toy Online tonight. We will continue the special conversation we were having, a discussion we were having with Coach Pasamba Jau about Toy, our leadership. What do we represent? Our history, our values, and more importantly, joy win. This is a fundamental issue that we'll be exploring tonight. My very self, Sulayman and Bakary, will be hosting this program, and I'll be joined by Bakary and Coach Pasamba Jau. We have to continue this discussion, this engagement. It's not just only healthy for our democracy, but it is to deepen your understanding about DOI as the only credible alternative right now in the Gambia. From 1965 to date, DOI has proven to be the only credible alternative that can transform the country. But every institution has its history, its heroes and legends that sometimes people need to know about. What do they stand for? And what do they represent over the years? It is very important. For us, when it comes to credibility, consistency, leaders with vision, we are second to none. In that regard, any moment from now, our panelists will be joining us, Brother Bakary and Coach Pasamba Diaw. Good evening, Brother Bakary.
Good evening. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Sulayman.
Welcome to tonight's program, as usual.
Thank you very much. I wouldn't be in another place apart from this one, and it's always a pleasure to be on this platform.
Wonderful. As usual, we are waiting for Coach Pasamba Diaw to join us to continue the dialogue.
Yes, definitely looking forward to it. Last program was amazing. It really opened my eyes, and I think Brother Pasamba Diaw owed me a tissue paper. It was just amazing. In less than a week, I am not afraid to say I'm a alpha male guy, but I don't easily get emotional. I've listened to Khalifa's speech at the Pan-African Congress meeting. I got emotional. I listened to Brother Pasamba Diaw taking us through the historical lenses of PDOIS. I just got emotional, and I just wish he could have talked for hours. So
yes, but here he is. We've got him back tonight. And hey, Mom, Coach. Foog ñu leeral lii si olof. Because wax bi amoon na solo. Wane nag dinañ la bàyyi rek nga daanal wax bi because danga stoppoon wante si man there were some bit of missing elements. Mooy lan the other unique method of a liberation struggle devised by the Doi leadership by coming up with Foroya. It became very instrumental in advocating for democracy, human rights, and the rule of law in the Gambia. And also, if you go out there, Coach, you have missed out, and I'll be upset with you, simply because Uncle Sambu, when I traveled to the Gambia in 2012, looking at the old man, gray hair, under a sun equivalent to about 46 degrees, burning weather, heading to the North Bank. Sitting out there in a gele, watching Uncle Sambu, waiting for the ferry for several hours, without a cold water, without soft drink. And I'm there sitting wondering, Really, these people are out there getting the job done. They don't even have the means. Me, as an individual coming from the diaspora, here I am hiding under the state. Then we must respect these people for what they are doing. In that regard, Coach Pasambajau, the forum is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Sulayman, for having me again, and thank you very much, Mr. Bakary Ba. Today, I've not seen you post anything today that has to do with food. So, thank you, guys. And Sulayman, you see, what I tried to do the last time was to take people down what they would call memory lane. Because I am of the view that those who do not understand how things come into being may not pretty much respect it very much. You've mentioned Mr. Sambu, Baba. Because you see, the struggle for Doi to bring the party into being was so vast, with so many players that sometimes you would forget names, as the Wolof would say, Kulim Jum. Sambu, who could have come back to the Gambia and started a foundation, have a lot of money from most of this Islamic world, decided that he was going to take the route of enlightening and educating the people. And those who are familiar with Foraya and Doi would understand that there were times when most of the Doi slogans would be written in Arabic in the local languages. And that was the work of Sambo. You also have somebody like Dr. Ture, the late, who was a veterinary scientist, who also decided to sacrifice his job to work in the liberation of the Gambian people. So we can sit here and name names and we'll never stop. But you see, the emergence of DOI is different from any other political party in the Gambia. In that, most political parties were formed with the sole objective of immediately ascending to the throne of leadership. That was why the PPP was formed. That was why the NCP was formed. That was why all other political parties were formed, including the UDP, because of the emergence of the UDP was as a result of the military junta banning NCP, PPP, GPP. And they decided to circumvent that ban by creating a political party under a different name coming together, because these three parties that I mentioned were pretty much from the same pot. Like Jawara said in 1992 at his rally at the Serakunda West Stadium, that PPP Sijari Benachin la, GPP, the NCP, the new Tibasi ko fogno lola ni daw, GPP ñëw Tibasi ko Tiba la ca fogno lolo neex ñu daw fekk xamuñ lu neex ci PPP mu sa taat ci jerba. And so you see, it was the same pot. So they came together and decided, you know what, since we were banned, we'll come together and revive our parties through this new thing called the United Democratic Party. But DOI's emergence was different, in that their goal was to revolutionize Gambian politics by focusing first on the enlightenment of the Gambian people so that they will be in charge of their own destiny. So the goal was never, let's just go and get power now. No, that was never the objective. The goal was, we have an objective. Our objective is first to enlighten the Gambian masses. And after that enlightenment, will be able to build a Gambia and a Gambian that would be able to take charge of its own destiny. And there were some, what people will call some unconventional political methods that DOI used that is different from what other parties used. Because what other parties used was the politics of the drumming, the dancing, the fanfare, the assobes, yai campaigns, and all that. But DOI came and said, you know what? The drummings can be substituted with the Enlightenment. The music would be the liberation songs, and this is where you have those songs. In fact, there was a song that was created that dealt with, it's a Mandinka song, the symbol of the party, the 16 rays of the sun. Because if you look at the symbol, just look at the party itself, Sulayman, and you look at other parties and their symbols, their colors. Oh, brown. Oh, we are blue. What was the objective? We need to have a symbol, so they just come up with symbols. But DOI decided that there was more to how the party was supposed to operate. And this was why it was important to have a motto. It was liberty, dignity, and prosperity. Liberty in that we'll have a party that would advocate for the liberation of the people, not only the liberation, I have political, no, but the liberation in that you will be enlightened to be able to own yourself, understand who you are, understand your value in a country, in particular, and the world at large. Dignity. That liberation will lead to self-worth, where you will live a dignified life, where this culture of beggardom would be a thing of the past. This is why DOI has always advocated for a system of governments that would lift the people from poverty into a dignified citizenry. And that would lead to what? Prosperity. So the motto was there, and that was important. Then they said we need to have an emblem, which is the 16 rays. And the idea was the sun is the center of the solar system. The earth revolves around it to give us these seasons. Its heat makes it possible for clouds to form to give us rain. Animals and plants require water from the clouds and light from the sun to live. Human beings depend on animals, plants, and water to live. Therefore, the sun enables the human beings to get life and light. Like the sun, DOI again what? Aims to be the source of light, life, and prosperity and enlightenment for the country and the Gambian people. You see, it was not like, oh, what's an emblem? Let's decide, oh, we like horses. Let's make horse our emblem. You see, everything the party did, it was centered around how is it going to benefit the people? What would be its meaning to the people? It's not only for beautification, but it also has to have meaning. This is why people who were associated with the party in the 80s and 90s would have seen a literature on this, what it meant. But a party is required to have a flag. Is where the colors come. The flag of the party is rectangular in shape. Most people do not know this, but we need to tell. You see, the objective of this conversation is for all of us to understand the concept that brought DOI so that we'll be able to build on it to achieve the goal from which it was built. And enclosed in this rectangle is a green triangle representing what? Agriculture. A brown background representing industry, and red sun with 16 rays at the center of the green triangle representing energy. But why is that? Because the party believes that agriculture is the base of an economy. It is the source of food and raw materials for manufacturing. But industry provides equipment as well as manufactured goods. Industry, therefore, is the driving force of development, but industry requires energy. That energy where? The sun. This is why the flag embodies development of agriculture, industry, and energy. So you see this, Bakary and Sulayman. You talk to Doi, we give you clear explanation as to everything that the party is doing. Nothing is done just in like, just trying to be, it looks nice. No. The whole objective of the party had always been the enlightenment of the people, leading to dignity, dignity leading to prosperity. And a prosperous Gambian will deliver a prosperous Gambia. A prosperous Gambia would also inspire a prosperous Africa. And a prosperous Africa will be an Africa that would not have to rely on loans and grants to survive, because we'll be able to use our minds and our knowledge to utilize the resources around us to make a living for our people. You will hear some people, Sulayman and Bakary, would tell you, well, DOI has been in existence for this many years. It's a small party. No, it's not. Small parties think small.
Mm-hmm.
Grand parties think big. Those who are so eager to enjoy the exploits of power, the entrappings of power, would do anything, even if it means throwing dust in the eyes of the people, just so that you will be elevated to the power of to the seat of power, and you will exploit the Gambian people. Yes, it is true that DOI is established as any other political party to eventually run the affairs of the country. But DOI would want to do it where people will be conscious enough to understand what their value is in a country. Sulayman, if the whole objective was just to have thousands of votes just tomorrow, that could be done. And you can do what anybody else does. The politics of inducement. The politics of sectionalism. But there is something that is evident though. There is what DOI does that is known by everybody. And they have become the voice of the voiceless, and this has been the history of the party since its inception. In the 80s and 90s and up to today. I used to go to the bureau in the 80s leading to the 90s. And you'll see people lined up from every nook and cranny of the Gambia when they had problems with the government. These are people who would vote for the PPP, who would vote for NCP, who would vote for all these other parties. But whenever they had a problem, they were not running to the PPP bureau, to the NCP bureau, to the GPP bureau, or any other political party's bureau. They were running to the People's Democratic Organization for Independence and Socialism to ask them for their assistance to resolve such problems. And this led to so many letters that have been written by DOI to the executive to try to resolve problems affecting people. And Sulayman, this was manifested in Bakary. Those who went to the trial in August of Halifa Saleh Sidia Jatta versus the Attorney General or the Armed Forces Provisional Ruling Council. This was when all Gambians pretty much capitulated and accepted the new order. And DOI said, we are not going to allow anybody to abrogate our rights with impunity. It was when they challenged Decree number 4 in open defiance and were arrested. During the trial, there were so many exhibits presented by the party to show that Foreya, you've talked about Foreya, we'll delve into it, was not just a newspaper to do propaganda, but it was a service to the people of the country. And you will see the letters from Foreya to the State House, from the State House to Foreya, from ministries to Foreya, trying to solve problems that were brought to Foreya to be taken care of, and they did. Why was Foreya created? In the Gambia, the government, the party that controls the state machinery, controls the media. Political parties, sometimes even to have your rallies announced on Radio Gambia was a problem. During elections, they used to give you 15 minutes to speak. If people remember 1992 elections, man may Khalifa Sallah, man may Paul Doy, fukki minute ak juroom rek lañ ma may pour ma wax lolu moy democracy bi ci Gambia. I don't know whether people remember those things. I sit here and they come back. Those were the things. But when the party came into being in 1986, they realized that we needed an outlet to be able to reach the people, to educate the masses, to tell them what was happening. Then Foreya was created. When Foreya was created, the people that we mentioned here before, the last show, part 1, they served as investigative reporters. They would go to every corner in that country. If you wanted comprehensive, unbiased reporting, Foreya was the people to go to. Intellectual conversations. So it became a tool that was necessary. Some people will not even wait for the paper to start selling in the streets. They would come to the bureau to buy it themselves. You will read it. And some people will be waiting, can I please get a copy? I remember Alaji Samba of the UK branch used to be a good source of having Foreya because he used to buy it regularly. So I used to hang out with his brother. So that was one area, one place that we'll be getting copies of it to read. So it was there. Everybody read it in that country. During the Tex Sanamane trial, where Sam and all the reporters will go. In fact, Foreya, I want to say that was the first paper that started reporting verbatim court proceedings, word for word. And the Sanamane trial is like there was nothing that Foreya could produce that would not be bought by the people. People in Europe, people in America, Gambians, non-Gambians, everybody relied on Foreya. So it became not a tool to disseminate information, but it became an educational tool for Gambians around the globe. So it became a necessary creation. When the budget was read, budget speech, when we'll all go and sit by the radios and listen to the Minister of Finance deliver the budget speech. What every Gambian was waiting for, the supplementary issue of Foray on the budget speech and PDOIS response to the budget speech. Sulayman. You have the issues, then you have the supplementary issues. People used to wait for that. Oh, the minister has delivered his budget speech. Oh my God, PDOIS response is coming. We're still there, Sulayman. Yes.
Yes.
Then you will get that. So for the first time, now you have a political party that has an outlet that would respond to the budget speech. That was the first time it has ever happened in the Gambia, because the politics before then was the politics of laziness. It was the drumming and dancing. There was nothing to talk about policies other than accuse one person of being corrupt without anything to back it. That's why you will not hear PDOIS tell you that this person was corrupt, or what they would tell you that the president earns this much salary. This is the lifestyle that he's living. This is what a driver earns, and all that. It was always factual, and that was the hallmark of Foray. And the motto was what? Know yourself, know this world, and you shall be the commander of your own destiny. On Foray, see that with the chains. Because the chains, people look at it, they saw the Gambian map in chains. Because it was the view that in spite of the fact that Gambia was liberated in a way as an independent country, the minds of the people was yet to be liberated and freed from both colonial and mental domination. And the goal of the people and the party was to liberate the minds of the people, educate the masses so that they would own themselves, to be able to live freely in a democratic society. So Foray's creation, Sulayman, was a very, very important and necessary tool. And you will read the analysis on the world economies. I want people to just go to the bureau and look at the archives, check the archives, and read the analysis that Foray wrote on the wind of change, especially when the Soviet Union was collapsing. And you would discover that Foray had raised the flags a long time ago. And PDOIS, because of the system was unsustainable, because the leadership then of the Soviet Union was living beyond the means of the country. There was never a single issue in the country, in the world, that Foray had not tried to analyze for Gambian people. So Foray became a very, very important tool and continues to become a very, very important tool in our polity. This was why in 1994, when Decree number 1 was out that banned political gatherings, Foray continued to publish and political publication. And in August, they came with Decree number 4 and said that they were going to ban political publication because there was only one political publication in the Gambia, and that was Foray. I remember sitting at my office at the African Center for Democracy and Human Rights Studies and getting a call from Sam. He was, well, Joe, Halifa and Celia, you know how Sam talks. He is very calm. Will be in front of the Ministry of Education to sell the paper. You knew what was coming up. As soon as he said that, I was out the door, straight to Banjul. Yeah, I saw Halifa. I still remember this, wearing his brown frock. They call Mom Seriu. Celia wearing a Fourier t-shirt, selling Fourier. And before you know it, that whole place was full with onlookers. Everybody knew that the showdown will happen. It didn't take long. We saw the council members driving, going to the state house, but they would not want to have eye contact with Halifa. And I also remember coaching a 3 o'clock game at LK, coaching Shanghai. I was done sitting there listening to, came out and there were some people were listening to BBC. I think it was Musa and some others. They were, oh, the guy arrest Nigerian. I was guy and Nyam Halifa Axidia. They've been arrested. So I took a cab and went to the bureau. And Amisila looking at me and laughing and say, oh, Jaws, I know you'll be the first here. But at that time, Doi saw something that a lot of people did not see. They saw that it was important for us as a people to battle for the democratic space, that we should not yield it to just a few people who would just lord over us by ruling the country on decrees. But when that happened, what did the players say? Sriftiba was interviewed by Le Quotidien in Senegal, and his first words were, you know what, good for them. They are troublemakers. I am on a political holiday. As a reporter for New Citizen newspaper, I went to interview Hassan Musa Kamara, the late. And he was, Mr. Jau, with his decree number 4, I really don't think I can talk. So you see that the whole political space was conceded to APRC. That was the first mistake. But we also saw ministers going and telling Jammeh, you know what, we agree, that's okay, we believe in God, change has come, we'll be behind you, we'll support you to make this thing a success. That was the attitude. But Doi challenged it. Went to court. It was one of the most interesting court cases in that country. Of course, the end was history. But Fourier survived. But what was the importance of that fight? Because if Doi had capitulated the same way that all the other political parties had capitulated, what would have happened to people in that country? Because we all watch the TRRC. What do you hear? Or it was a Fourier reporter that found me at this place. It was Fourier that reported my disappearance. It was Fourier that did that, meaning that without that medium, a lot more crimes could have happened to our country undocumented. And why is it that we always waited for Fourier to come out with detention without trial, disappearance without trace, and tell you the list of Gambians that have disappeared? So you see, I just want people to understand this. That fight in August, when they said we are not going to concede the political space to the APRC or AFPRC was important for the eventual liberation of our people and the documentation of the atrocities on the job. But something happened during that trial. Sidia and Khalifa were prepared to go to jail. And this was why the party decided that all other members were going to dissociate themselves from the party except Khalifa and Sidia. So that if anything were to happen to them, the party would continue. And this was why Dr. Omar Touré, the late Dr. Omar Touré, was asked to leave the country, to go abroad, so that if anything were to happen to the leadership, he would take over as the leader of the party. You see, everything was always very, very strategic. And during this period, I used to go to the bureau, sit with Khalifa. I take my tape recorder. I had this tape recorder that I was using. And he would record messages. And those messages were supposed to be distributed if they were to be incarcerated. Most people did not know this. In fact, some of those tapes, there was a Gambia, there's a guy, Musa Mane. Yes, he lives in the UK now. The last time I think he was living there. Was arrested at one point because they found some of those tapes with him. But the party understood that this was a struggle. But they were not going to let the party die. And strategically, this was why, like I said, everybody dissociated from the party except Khalifa and Sidia, the chairperson and the secretary general. And Dr. Omar Touré, one of the greatest minds in our country, may his soul rest in peace, was asked, you know what, you go abroad. You sit there. If anything happens to us, it is your duty to take the mantle of the party and go with it. Throughout the existence of the party had always focused on the politics of ideas. And this is why some people will tell you, you know what, why is it that DOI do not mention people's names? Because DOI had always looked at the office and not the personality. I remember 1992 elections. There was a literature that DOI put out. It was just about a one-page literature. They had everything there. The economy, unemployment, the salary of the president, the salary of the ministers, the wastages in this, the ERP, the problems of the ERP, how GPMB was sold, how NTC was sold, how all these other mediums were sold. GPMB, which was making about 100 million, was sold for around that much. It was making around 100 million a year. The government sold it for 100 million. How people were losing their jobs, how our hospitals were now starting to charge people, so the ERP, the problems. Guess what was happening? Interesting. NCP were using that same literature for their campaigns. They never produced it. It was produced by DOI, bullet points. It became now the rallying call of all other political parties, meaning that all of a sudden, all parties now were forced into discussing issues. Manifestos. Of course, parties, they would tell you they had their manifestos. Most governments did not even know the meaning of a manifesto because they've never had the word manifesto. Until DOI came with manifestos. They said the 132-page manifesto of the party. that told you everything that the party was going to do if it were to be elected into office. That resulted with the PPP also coming with a 16-page manifesto. GPP came with an 8-page manifesto. NCP also put something together. Because nobody now wanted to be left behind. Chances are they were, okay, let's go and see what did Roy write about agriculture. Let's just tweak it a little bit. This was the reality. But the party had always had respect of its opponents. This was why during the 1992 elections, when NCP, is it GDP, Dr. Bojang's party, and GPP, GDP, NCP went to Jawara and said that they were going to complain about electoral reforms. The electoral system has a problem. Well, when they left the meeting, one of them saw Sam Sarah and told him, we went to the PA to complain about electoral reform. You know what he told them? If I were you, I would be like Doi. Because before they say anything, they would do their research and base it on facts. That was from Sadauda to them. So it was, the party had always been a respected party. And its respect was earned from the honesty, the integrity, and the ideas that they were espousing. So, Sulayman, the objective of this conversation, I think we'll continue this leading to 2021, is just so that people will just understand the party, where it stood. What I want people to do, if you go to YouTube, search for DOI, the 1992 rally, and you listen to Halifa and Sidia talk about Gambian problems, I can guarantee you will think that they are talking about Gambia of today.
Yeah.
What they were talking about in 1992 about Gambia. You listen to it today, you would think that they are talking about Gambia of today. And it was based always on consistency. The message has always been very, very consistent. So you see, DOI, we've never claimed to be better than anybody or more educated than anybody. But the hours that we put in the work of the party is unparalleled. Because DOI is the only party in that country. Very, very consistent. Sorry. DOI is the only party in that country where the work of the party is 24/7. You go to Samsar, he works almost 24/7 for the party. You go to Sambu, 24/7 for the party. Usunjai and all those people that are there, 24/7. Halifa, the same thing. These are people who've invested everything that they have in the party, in particular, and Gambia at large. Living a very selfless life in pursuit of what? A Gambia of liberty, dignity, and prosperity. You see, when I went to the party's congress in Gain Sanjal, it was 2018. And I sat there and I saw Sidi Ajata. I saw Amisila. I saw Halifa. I saw Sam. I saw Sambo. So all these people. I became sad. And what saddened me was, of course, I'm used to seeing Halifa because he comes here, he will stay with me and all. So I see Halifa a lot. So that was, but just seeing them in that platform and seeing everybody at the same time, Adamaba and everybody. And my mind went back to 30 years ago, 1986, 1987, 1988, 1989, 1990, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95. And I remember these young men who were in their 30s and 40s, who were full of hair, dark, not gray, who were strong, who were riding bicycles, who were busy writing, typing, doing all the things, the work that the party was doing. And I was emotional because I'm like, these are my comrades. These are people that I knew when I was a teenager, when they were young men. Look at them. They are on their last legs. And throughout the period that I'm talking about, up to date, they've never wavered in their commitments to the party or to the Gambian people and expecting nothing in return. I saw them, but I saw people who were content, people who were driven. And you can see now they have the gray hair, but you see the energy in them. The fire was still burning. I was sitting there with Alpha Abba looking at Sidia, young Sidia Jata, cool, calm, and collected, who will sit with you and all you'll be doing will be laughing because he has the best sense of humor, loves his attire. And my mind jogged back to the original bureau where Samsar lived, where we used to sit. You had this Nyari cabinet and Sal and all the stuff where the typing was going. Sehndaw is typing here, Fai is typing there, and the work that they were writing, some will be sitting. So the work that they were doing, you come to wake up in the morning. You see, I was telling somebody that when it started, the members, the people that were sacrificing for the party, suñ jógee suuf dafa sedda, suñ tëddee suuf dafa sedda. Meaning the time they wake up is always very early. By the time they go home, it's late. You wake up, you're straight at Nyakoy to teach. From Nyakoy to the bureau. The bureau, you'll be there, you'll be typing, you'll be compiling, you'll be distributing for you. By the time you get home, it will be late at night. Maybe you're averaging about 3 or 4 hours of sleep. That's why you see them. Most of them don't sleep. And I saw that. And something happened. And I said to myself, it would be the biggest travesty if we let this party die. 2018, at the DOI Congress, I said it to myself that it would be the greatest of travesties if we sit and let the People's Democratic Organization for Independence and Socialism die. And when I came back, I spoke to Celia at length about that. And there I was at that something really strange happened, Sulayman and Bakary. We were sitting there, then it was when I was about to leave with Basirundao. So I greeted all of them and said, you know what, I have to go because of there was something that I had to do, no trips to Gambia. I said, oh, where is Sam? They said, oh, well, Sam is sitting somewhere. So I went and found Sam Sar sitting under a tree. I'm like, oh, Waji. Like, oh, Joe, fine. Manako, well, you know what? I'm about to go. Oh, you making a call? He was, no, I'm writing the editorial. Now, listen to this. Something happened to the editor, so Sam had to write the editorial. Now, listen to what Sam was using to write the editorial. You see the Nokia phones, the small ones?
Yeah.
I was amazed. I was sitting there. I'm like, Waji, is this what you're using? He was, yeah. Not an iPhone, not any of these things. He was sitting there writing an editorial on a Nokia phone and would be sending it as a text. And they would transcribe it and put it in the paper. And I looked at Sam Sar. I'm like, look at this guy. He is the best physics teacher that this country had ever produced. He could have been teaching in one of the best private schools in that country, getting paid more than anybody in that country. But here he is, content with life, dedicated to the cause of the people, sitting under a mango tree, using a Nokia phone, the small phones, flip phones, to write an editorial. I don't think I can type now one line with a Nokia phone. You see, there was something I said here the last time when I challenged people to tell us whether any of the members of the party of DOI had ever been guilty of misappropriating public funds. You will not hear it.
Yes.
Because
yes.
they are content in life. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Joe. Thank you. I mean, Brother Bakary, I'm here. I'm like, oh, okay. It's kind of like very stimulating. You wouldn't want to stop listening, but obviously you have to listen and you have to stop to have a deep breath and then reinforce that energy. Joe has touched on various issues from the evolutionary process, DOI's contribution to liberation struggle, the newspaper, Fourier, which was used as a tool to be an alternative, to give voices for the voiceless. And again, like Joe explained, DOI evolved from a thoughtful process. It is not a party. If you listen to Joe very carefully, it is not a party that has been created out of emotions or a party that has been created for a particular opportunity to be in power or to be in positions. Everything about the party has been formulated within concepts. It has been deeply conceptualized. When you think about Fourier, what do you relate it to? To the great African independent revolutionaries, the likes of Nkrumah. They created their own papers simply because they knew that if you want to liberate a people, first, particularly in Africa, you should be able to pass your message. They should get your message. It is a very important tool. So Fourier was created in a similar direction. That is my view. Bosch talked about something very interesting, and my mind strikes on a particular incident when he said he interviewed, I couldn't capture that very well, a particular politician or someone in Dakar who said, oh, okay, it's good for them when they were arrested.
Yeah, that was Sirif Diba.
Sirif Diba.
That he was on political holiday. Yep.
Exactly. So something similar in 2009 happened when Khalifa confronted the witch hunters, the Jammeh witch hunters. I went to a friend on a Sunday, he laughed. He said, hey, Saul, you know, your people, they think they are heroes. Look at him now, they are just placed in one place. They've arrested. So basically, celebrating that, Khalifa was arrested. Because for him, Khalifa was trying to be a hero by confronting human rights violators. But that was not the case. He even refused to use it for political gains. And you look at places like Jambur, in Kombo, this is where, if anyone is winning elections in the Gambia, you can determine it from Kombo, because how densely populated that area is. They did not use it for political gains. Comes elections, despite what happened to them, they will go and vote for others. Completely forget about those who stand for them in the most difficult times. That is part of we, the Gambians, and something should change about that. So before we flip the conversation to another interesting level, I know, like Jao said, we will continue this. And we are going to look at this by stages. People will tell you they cannot win. But before that, Brother Bakary, if you have anything to throw out there, let's hear from you.
Thank you, Brother Sulayman. I'm just going to say a massive thank you to Brother Pasamba. I'm sitting down here. It feels like I'm having one of the best lectures from one of the best universities in the world. You speak to Doi people like the brothers of Pasamba Jow. They just do not, they apply themselves to knowing what the party stands for and what the party means. So when they are talking, they talk very eloquently about the party because they know what they're talking about. I am going to do a little bit of justice to you here because we know you struggle with your Olaf and we always hear about it. But something I did from last program when Brother Pasamba Jao said something. Politics in Bamal and Mbabas. Those are two very key important word of words. And I could not just continue today on this program without elaborating a little bit on that. Even though I'm a fuller, I think my Wolof is not that bad. Mbamal, if you hear the word Mbamal, that is meant to make you come rarely. They don't want you to be enlightened. They don't want you to know. That is Mbamal. Mbabas is where everything happens, like the Kumbal, the Sabar, that's all what matters to people. Just listen to those two words. They were resonating with me since our last program. And that's the politics we've got in the Gambia, except Doi. Because if someone wants to educate you and enlighten you so that you would know who you are, so that you could take charge of your destiny and your affairs, and that's what Doi has been all about. You look at the party structure, you look at the party motto, you look at the colors, you look at everything. These are all things that are strategically looked into and planned. Today, if you are building your house, you need to plan it properly in terms of budget, in terms of the plan structure of the house, and always when you're building a house, the foundation is the most important aspect of that program and structure. And that's where DOI differs from any other party, which is the foundation and the structures of the party. You look at the leadership, the sacrifice and the commitment, not to themselves, but to the people of the Gambia and the Gambia. It's unquestionable, it's unmatchable. I will tell you a little story about the Foroya. My dad is those semi-illiterate Fulamans from the province. He would like you to read things to him. Still, if you go to his house, and I keep fighting with him about this. He keeps things. He would give you your school lunch, but he would put money for newspapers for you to buy also. This is someone that doesn't read very well. And one of the newspapers which was always difficult to have was the Fourier. And if I can remember right, it wasn't something that was published every day like the other ones, like the Daily Observers and all that. It was on certain days.
Yep. I think it was,
if you miss that Fourier supplication for my dad, you might be punished not to have your lunch for the next few days. So I used to sit down there after classes to read some of this Fourier to him, so that he would know what is happening on the other side. Because we all know governments of Africa, particularly in the Gambia, they control the state machinery in terms of how they disseminate information. But here we're talking about a newspaper that was based on ethics, standards, and the truth, and reporting it as it is. So even I know for a fact, maybe Brother Pasamba would know this place. I grew up in a place in Banjul called Garasi Bakau.
Yes,
there is this shop that used to be owned by a late uncle called Margaret Jan. Lots of brothers used to come there. These are very respectable people would come there. We used to get newspapers there. But the only newspaper that you would struggle to have there was the Fourier. And every time I met Khalifa, I will not go into that story because it will just take the whole program. I met Khalifa, I was reading a Fourier newspaper, young Khalifa. So coming to what Brother Pasamba has said, you look at the party, you look at the struggles, it's all towards the liberation of our people, not to themselves. They could have chosen to be whatever they want to be in this world. But no, it's the sacrifice to the cause of liberating us. And that's very important, because when one is committed to the cause, you don't look at how much I get from this, you don't look into places, or you don't look into how you're going to elevate your own living. You look at all these leaders that Pa has talked about in the last two programs. You see Afro-Gambian in them. You see they resonate with us. You see they live in the communities that we live. But yet these are people that could have lived the high life, could have been anything that they want. And it's very important to emphasize the point that Pa has said. Look at institutions in Africa or in Gambia in particular. Someone to be a public figure or a public life, leading a public life for over 3 decades, no one could dare tell you Khalifa have taken a butu from me, or Sidia, or Sam, or Auntie Ami, or all the leadership with all the temptations of what is happening in Africa. So you look at that, you see everything that you would like to have in a leader, but yet still the government tried to its best. But let's also remember what Pa said that here, and I remember Uncle Sidia saying this during the eulogy that he was reading for the late Sir Dawda at the parliament. These were people that were feared, not because of their might, but their knowledge and wisdom and how they applied. And even the late president had that respect for them. And even to an extent, people keep accusing them that they were enablers of Jammeh, but no one can provide you that evidence. They fight with that military junta from the onset, from the beginning. But the respect was always there. And in fact, that has played a critical role for us in 2016, because Khalifa was the face and the front of the coalition 2016. When Jammeh want to try everything, everybody want to listen to him. Let's wait, Khalifa's press conference. Because he was using his knowledge, his wisdom, and his strategy, not for us to get into flames. And I had him say something, I'm just going to stop there. Nguur du dole moko yobu, hell ak pexe moko yobu.
I dig it.
And you look at Doy and his leadership, that's all what they're about. I will just stop there and let Brother Pasamba continue his lectures, because me, I'm enjoying this lecture.
Well,
No,
Joe,
it's not a lecture. It's a conversation. And there was
People
something.
are demanding for you
No, there was something that
translate this in. Okay, go ahead.
no, there was something that Bakary said. Politic in Bamal and Babas. There's a way that Halifa used to put it. Mu ne su ko defee ñu jox la sàngara boo xam ne doo ko naanee gémmiñ noppa nga koo naanee mu ne sàngara boobu mooy lan mooy sabar yi ak gese-gese. You know, you hear that. So you will get drunk on this alcohol that you don't drink, from your mouth, but through your ears.
Well, I've got the Mandingo version of it. It is what Sidia tells the people of Wole. Ibinala jay ibal mindila dolola. Bar dolo nyimbuka ming anindala de. Ko dolo mumnedi tan town.
Muy
Akan ming anin tulolela. Ibal mindila falle tu altina fiofenin fonola.
And you see that was the thing, because that's what it was. But Sulayman, before we get into the Wolof quickly, Nyakoi, why it was important for Doi to create a nursery school, to just show you how different Doi was from every other organization in that country. I'm not talking about a political party, every organization in that country. They decided, you know what? Not only are we going to create our own newspaper, we are going to create a nursery school. And this was a nursery school. Who were teaching there? I taught there for a few days or weeks, and I said, this is too much for me. Let me go to the bureau and compile Foraya and the manifesto and stuff. But these were people, highly qualified teachers, headmasters, and who all sacrificed their jobs and say, you know what, we are going to work for the party. They created Nyakoi. Amisila was running the one in Bundung. Then Seh and them were running the one in New Joshua, Ibo Town, sorry. And the Nyakoi school, when they would have these programs where the kids would come and show their ideas, Sulayman, little kids, they can name you every single capital in Africa. I've watched this thing. One kid was on TV with the dad, and they would call a country, and the kid would mention their capitals, and people were very smart. I said, I saw this in the 80s and 90s. You see? So you go there, you were educated, and one thing that was constant there, you are not going to beat a single student. There was no hitting of a student. But they believe this, the psychology of the child. You educate the child, and this is where you see the Uncle Halifa's, Uncle Sidia, Uncle Suso, Uncle Lisik came through Nyakoi. Because the teachers were auntie and uncles, not Mr. and Mrs. So you see, that's where the uncle came, or Uncle Sam, Uncle Sambo, Uncle. So that's where the uncle came. Even sometimes I'll hear Uncle Joe. And I remember one time I was with Halifa in Atlanta, and I'd never seen him that happy, because there was this lady who came to him and greeted him and said, well, my name is such and such. I was a student of Nyakoi. Halifa was, oh, that's wonderful. What do you do now? The lady was, well, I just graduated university and I'm working on this and this and that. And the happiness in Halifa's face was, you know what? This is the type of people that we are trying to mold. And the experiment, Nyakoi's experiment, was when Jaga was going to primary school, St. Teresa's Primary. They wanted them to put him in primary 5 from nursery school. They said, no, we'll settle for 4. When he sat the common entrance, he came out second. That was the legacy. And that is the legacy of Doi that nobody can take away from them, because of their dedication to educating people that they do not even know, helping people who would not vote for them, or fighting for the liberties of people who in their living rooms had the giant posters of Yaya Jammeh. But that was not important to them. What was important is that their rights were violated and they are Gambians. They deserve to be fought. So now, Suleiman, you wanted me to go to Wolof.
Well, I don't know whether we need to talk about that for another episode because
We can.
We are taking already 75 minutes on this
Oh
program.
no, I think that's fine, so that it will not be too long. Yep.
Yes. One area that I wanted us to address is, can Doi win? I don't know whether it is okay for us to go on.
Oh yes, that we can talk about.
We can have that next. Pardon?
I think every episode we have, we can talk about, yes, it is possible and why is it possible.
Okay.
Yes, Doi is more than capable of winning elections in the Gambia. Unless the Gambians do not know what they want. Because Doi, as a political party, has one of the most distinct and clear messages and programs that would solve Gambia's problem. The party has the dignity, it has the integrity, it has the patriotism, it has the knowledge, it has the wherewithal to be able to lift Gambians from 55 years of failure of abject poverty to a Gambia of liberty, dignity, and prosperity. The same way that Gambians are always so eager to hear what a Halifa Sallah has to say, or a Sidia Jata at the National Assembly, or whenever any issue arises. And the guidance that the party has continued to give to the country for over 40 years, if you want to call it that, because you will have to go back to even before the inception of the party. Listen, who are these Doi people? I remember when Halifa was part of the Pan-African Congress, Parliament. And they wanted to do a report, an investigation. I think it was in Rwanda or Burundi. My memory
is in Sudan. Darfur,
yes.
Sudan.
Darfur.
Yeah.
They decided that, out of all of us here, there is one person that we want to lead this and do the investigation. And who was that party? That individual, Halifa Ababakar Sallah, of where the People's Democratic Organization and for Independence and Socialism. And he did such a great job that when they called him after the 2007 National Assembly elections, the one he lost, and said, you know what, we have another assignment for you. And he was, unfortunately, I will not be able to do it because I lost my seat. You know what they told him? Are your people mad? Are they crazy? This is a guy who, wherever he goes, not only him, all of them, the respect that he commands or they command from their peers, not only in the Gambia, but around the world, based on not because they look better than anybody, but because of their capabilities that they demonstrate so ably in front of everybody, whether it is in academia or anywhere else that they speak or work. I've seen these people inspire people who knew nothing about them. Let me give you an example. In 2000, you brought Halifa Sallah here to the US. We went to Malcolm X Park. It was ALD. The African Americans were there. People were giving speeches. At first, he said he didn't want to say anything. I said, okay, that's fine. So we were sitting. People were giving speeches. Other people were sitting and chatting around. You know, when you have that. Then he looked at me and said, Joe. I said, yes. He said, I can inspire this crowd. I said, that's all I needed to hear. So I went to the organizer and said, comrades, say, you know what? I have somebody from the motherland, from the Gambia. He's such and such and such. You want to say a few words. This was 2000. Cell phones were not the thing. You know, it just started using a card to call Gambia. As soon as Khalifa mounted the podium and spoke for less than 15 minutes, you would think that it was Michael Jackson who came there. Everybody congregated around us. They wanted contacts. They wanted to get in touch with him. Then we went to New York City. I remember we were sitting in his hotel room. You know Khalifa, because Khalifa can sit right here now, pen and paper, and write 200 pages. No dictionary, no reference. And I'm serious, I'm not joking. I have seen this a number of times. I would sit with him. He would take a notepad and start writing. And I remember during that trip was when we created the first DOI support group in the US, which expanded to other parts of the world. We were sitting in his room, hotel room, because I'm like, I told Baisisi and Basirundao, you know, I don't want to, because I know how they live, you know, the privacy. So we're going to get him a hotel room to stay. It's not like he never asked for that. Then I called my comrades in New York, Olembe. He used to have this program called Africa Kaleidoscope. I'm like, comrade, I have a friend of mine here from the Gambia and da. I would want you to interview him. When Khalifa spoke at the radio station, I remember the next time Khalifa came, 2001, Olembe came to a program that we are now telling people, my brothers, you have to listen to this brother, man. This guy has what it takes to liberate your people and take them from the poverty and dictatorship. So back to the question, DOI can win, and DOI must be able to win elections if the Gambia is to liberate itself from 54 years of decadence and retrogression. Because DOI, and I encourage everybody to read the Gonga. Clear policies and programs of how to solve every single problem in that country. It's not a matter of fanfare. But if you want your children to live in a country of liberty, dignity, and prosperity, your only answer is DOI. If you want a Gambia that would stand tall, toe-to-toe with any other country in the world in terms of development, in terms of democracy, in terms of progress, in terms of liberty, in terms of dignity, your answer is DOI. All DOI can do and must do as a political party is come with its programs and sell it to you. And I dare you or any other political party, you the voter, read the Gonga, read the party manifesto, compare it with any political party and tell me that there is a political party in that country that has programs and policies that are superior to that of DOI. Measure the integrity, the dignity of the leadership of any political party in that country against that of DOI, and tell me that you'll find a party that has a membership, a leadership that has more integrity, dignity, and honesty, patriotism than DOI. You will not find it.
No.
And since we all go to elections with our boxes empty, the people who get the most votes win. And the people with the best programs and ideas must always win. The people with the honesty, the dignity, the integrity, and patriotism must always win. And I believe 100% that DOI has is the most dignified political party. It has more integrity. It has the vision. It has the leadership. It has the programs. It has the policies. It has everything superior than any other political party in that country, irrespective of who you call yourself. And as a result, yes, DOI can win, and yes, DOI will win, and yes, DOI must win. But that can only happen if we, especially those who believe in the ideals of the party, will roll up our sleeves and sell the programs of the party. You see, DOI is not about this political party leader, or no. We have our programs. The time will come when our leadership would sit face to face, Jakarlo, face à face, with the leadership of other parties, and then we can compare programs and policies. We can debate. What other parties do, that's their problem. If you believe in the ideals of the party, if you believe in the programs of the party, sell it to other people. Organize yourselves. You don't have to be a member. Being a member is great. But if you're a supporter, find people, like-minded people. Have your little DOI support group in the corner. Ask for the programs, the literature. Share it with people. You don't have to bribe anybody. You don't have to force anybody. All we are asking you to do is share the ideas of DOI with anybody and see whether you will not be able to turn people around in a heartbeat. That's it. DOI is armed with programs, policies that cannot be challenged. So all I'm asking you is, we saw what I did in 2000. Then, what do they call it? What do they call this? Facebook was not around. It was Gambia Post, Gambia L. I would go, when we wrote the document, I would be reading. I saw Kabir Njai, he's writing. I'm like, you know what? That man, I think, is DOI. I would contact Kabir. Yeah, man, we are trying to bring this thing together. If you're a supporter of DOI, you can come on board. Oh, yes. I read. Auntie Jabu, I said, you know what? This lady is existing ideas commensurate with DOI. Let's contact. Before we know it, we're able to have a community of DOI supporters. So what I would urge everybody is, you read Facebook. You see people's comments. If they are close, call the person inbox and say, you know what, hey, I've been watching you, I've been seeing you do this and this and this. I am a member of DOI, I am a member of this group. You know, if you are interested, we would really love to have you on board. If you need more information about the party, I am here to help you. We can, you know, connect you with somebody who can help you with it. This is how you win people over. But to answer your question emphatically, DOI, yes, DOI can win. Yes, DOI must win. Yes, DOI should win, because DOI has the best programs in that country, and DOI is the solution to Gambia's problem after 55 years of backwardness and wretchedness in that country, Sulayman and Bakary.
Thank you very much, Jao. There are always different perspectives to this, and I'll come to you, Brother Bakary, very soon. Even if you look at it in terms of international comparative politics, there has been parties around the world who fought very difficult battles than DOI, with regimes that no one thought they would be able to uproot. And a classical example is in South Africa. The ANC fought a very difficult battle. There was a time no one could imagine that the ANC will win elections in that country. Similarly, in the West, a typical example is the Canadian NDP. Therefore, it's very easy for someone to sit behind somewhere and argue that It has taken DOI for over 30 years. DOI cannot win. It is a ridiculous perception. Simply because, I'll give you an example. Serekunda, or before Serekunda Central, is the most densely populated part of the country and the most diverse part of the country. If Khalifa can win there, and even those who won against him at the time, a factor is the power of the incumbency and how others oppose him. But even other opposition parties, he's always defeated them there. So if he can win in Serekunda, the most diverse area of the country, if Syria can consistently win in Wuli, to an extent that sometimes the APRC struggles a lot to find a candidate in Wuli, sometimes they feel like giving up. I have been privy to that. Why can't DOI win in other parts of the country? Why? So it is a perception. It is a mind game based on psychology that is not real. So the answer is simple. DOI can win if you support DOI and you encourage others to support DOI. And when DOI wins, the peoples win. When DOI wins, the Gambia wins. Africa wins. Brother Bakary.
Thank you very much, Brother Sulayman. And again, I would say thank you very much to Brother Pastor. I was laughing at one and smiling at one stage where I wrote something. In response to your question, absolutely, DOI can win, and DOI would win, inshallah. And I would say it in Wolof, I would say it in Fula, I would say it in Mandinka. DOI dañoo win, mun nañoo win. DOI be gagné la, DOI si gagné no. DOI na waawi gañoo te DOI gañoto. That's a fact. We had this slogan in America. For the first time ever, they elected a black president, which was Obama. And their slogan was, yes, we can. If in America, with all the troubles happening there, a black man can lead the most powerful country in this world and lead it at a very difficult time and become one of the most, I will say, maybe people would differ, the most successful presidents ever I could remember in America. That tells you DOI can win. You look at the DOI model, you look at the DOI leadership, even here in the UK where we are, the Labour Party is a people-centered party. And you know our connection that we had with the Labour Party. Yes, we can. And the reason why I was smiling when Pastor Amba was saying what we can do as supporters and members of the party. You see, we need to strengthen our convictions. We have been set a benchmark by these amazing leaders for decades. And whatever we do for the party as new members or the younger generation, we can't reach to that level, but we can try. You know, we were working on a project recently towards the party. And everybody watching here, they would tease me that I'm a food lover. That day, we spoke about 5 o'clock in the evening, and this is not Ramadan. And I said to you, Brother Suleiman, I'm having lunch now. And I didn't have breakfast that day. You are my witness. And I thought of like, no breakfast, no lunch. But what motivated me and inspired me is like, even though I went for the whole day without lunch, these are leaders and people I know they can go for 24 hours or even more without food for the party and to live with people. For me to go hours without my lunch or breakfast is nothing. It even inspired me more. And the reason why I'm bringing that story is this rhetoric and this bluff game people play on DOI. We are a small party. We don't have supporters. The notion is absolutely nonsense. In 24 hours, 48 hours, in the Midlands where we live, and it's not our country, we've managed to reach out to 20 members And what more is it about that is half of those were women, and not just women, women of substance and women of capability and women of great conviction. So if we can do that in 24 hours, 48 hours, it's doable. What we need to do is roll our sleeves. And the message is very simple. We have the structures, we have the leadership, we have the policies and programs which is unmatched. And we need that system change. And the only way that system change is going to happen is through a DOI winning an election. We've gone 55 years of independence. 55 years. You look at our country, you want to shed tears. And the only way we can change that trend is by electing DOI and its leadership in 2021. That's not just my job, that's the job of every Gambian out there. Because it's a victory, not just for the Gambia, but like Brother Pasamba has said, for the whole of Africa. Today, the beacon of Africa, people keep referring to Rwanda. I can bet my life, if we have a DOI leadership, we're in charge of our country just for 5 years, Gambians would bite their hands and say, we wish we did this earlier. And I can tell you Gambia will be better than even Rwanda because of the leadership that will steer the affairs of that country. So it's in our collective interest to make sure DOI wins. It's not just a DOI member's job. Even the other opposition, they know it, Brother Sulayman. They know our leadership is unmatched. They know our programs and our policies are unmatched. But we have to sell the message to the people. And the message is getting there. Let no one fool you about this. I come from Yanija. I am very well connected in that area. Now they're labeling me a DOI person. And I'm telling you, people are even asking me, when are you coming? We are ready for you guys and your party. And DOI just doesn't do things in a way of getting numbers. My blood cousin, the same mother and father with my dad, contested as a female councillor candidate in our own constituency in Yanija for the first time ever. And she nearly won. So there is hope. It's not just in the Serekunda or in the Woolies. Let's expand ourselves. You come from Sandu. Pa is well connected in Banjul and Combo. So many people watching here is the same thing. Let's put ourselves out there. We have the biggest weapon and the biggest product to sell, which is our party, its leadership, and its program. And nobody got a better product than us. So yes, we can win elections. Thank you.
You see, that's the spirit.
Thank you, Bakary. Coach, final or closing remarks before we wrap up this discussion.
Well, I thank you also very much, Sulayman, Bakary, and all the viewers. And just want to say again that it is never impossible until it is tried. And the party has been doing this and looking for the long run. And this is why when it was established, it started baby steps until where it is today. If you want to know DOI and its capabilities, look at 2016. I used to have disagreements with Halifa on this coalition thing because I had gone to the extent I was tired of this. I had no trust in the electoral system. And he would tell me, Joe, unless we build a wave, we will not be able to dislodge this guy. And his idea of a coalition and how it should be done was always dismissed. But he insisted. The NAT model, where he was the coordinator, was so powerful. I was with the STGDP, Safety Gambia Democracy Project, so we used to deal with them every time. That Jammeh became scared and called Obasanjo and said, I wanted to have a discussion with the leaders. Let's sign an MOU in case I lose elections. This was 2006. That was when the opposition signed that MOU with Jammeh as to if you were to lose elections, how you were to be treated. Jammeh was scared that he was going to lose. Of course, not disintegrated, we lost that. 2011, that was tried. 2016, when we finally tried that as a group. And Khalifa and them maintain that our politics is going to be based on issues only. We don't want anybody with microphones here insulting, they were talking about tribe this. No, we wanted it to focus on the issues. Nobody can deny this. Of course, it was a collective work, but the tactic was developed in that bureau. And when we won the elections, and Jammeh started his shenanigans, the Gambia needed a steady hand to guide the ship so that it would not sink. We were all scared of what was going to happen. Then we had him become the voice of reason, where he would tell people, no, there is no need to come out in the streets. We've won these elections and there is nothing that can be done to deny Adama Barrow the presidency. I want you to sit in your homes, go about your business. Then they said, but Mr. Salah, they've come out with their military guns, their sandbags, and he said, yes. Jammeh is still the president of this country, according to the constitution. The army is still under his command. All I ask you to do, when you see the military and you have your money, if you have to give them attire, give it to them. But just go about your lives. Don't do anything. When the country was at the brink of war, the fighter jets were ready to pound the nation. He helped in guiding by reminding ECOWAS, you know what? The outgoing presidency still have a residue of his term. Let's make sure that he has finished that before anything is done. All trying to guide the nation to make sure that not a single person would be killed. And when it was all done, when Barrow had left the country, people sat and listened to him, the guidance. I'm not trying to give him all the credit, but I'm just trying to tell people how he executed the responsibilities that were given to him. Every morning, everybody can Khalifa diwa. When is Khalifa speaking? We'll all go and sit in front of TVs. The people will have their radios to listen to the international community. And I'll tell you this, Sulayman, this guy, a very high-ranking international personality, I'm not going to mention the name, said something, this guy has to be the president of this country one day. Just how he guided the process with his partners in making sure that we're going to at least have a peaceful transfer of power. Dull, stay honest. You could have rushed the situation. You could have told them, you know what? Because when they spoke about, you know what, he was, no, we are never going to be non-constitution compliant. This is what the constitution says. We have to go by it. We are not going to give him any wiggle room. We're going to follow the law to the letter. And when they did that, eventually we were able to have done or achieved a Gambia where we can all sit today and be proud of. It was not easy. And I'm not going to sit here and give him all the credit, but I give it to every single Gambian, especially those who are in the trenches. You see, Sulayman, that's why sometimes I don't like going after some of these people and they say, oh, why don't you go after them? Listen, you have to respect people. Give them their due.
Yeah.
because we know the politics in the Gambia was never easy, Suleiman. You know this, I know that. There was a reason why there were few people who were ready to go and some of these people gave up everything in their lives for that. But with that, all I want to say finally is DOI is the ultimate solution to Gambia's 55 years of maladministration. Give DOI a chance if you want to give the Gambia a chance. And definitely, we can win. And yes, we can definitely liberate the Gambia and bring us all a Gambia of liberty, dignity, and prosperity. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Joe. That's very clear in terms of Khalifa's contribution to Coalition 2016, from the initiation to the implementation to victory, cannot be measured. That is not just you. I remember when I organized an interview for him at the BBC in London studios. We went in there. You see how everyone in the newsroom was literally jumping on him, including senior editors, because he has really saved that country from tragedy during the impasse, and that has been recognized worldwide. So in that regard, well, politics sometimes, Joe, you have to go after people sometimes.
I know. I don't have a problem of doing that. But I just wanted to say that sometimes let's not forget too soon, because the struggle that we waged for 22 years was a very brutal one.
Yeah.
You know, and people lost a lot in it. So that's just why I'm saying sometimes it's not a matter of agreeing with them.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I try not, and that's DOI. We don't try to be disrespectful towards other people.
Yeah.
We want to focus on our message and challenge you on ideas, and not try to engage in what DOI would call politique yayam sindala papam kolona.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That's very clear.
Oh yes,
Brother Bakary.
Yeah, Brother Suleiman, I just didn't even want to add anything here. Brother Pasamba have amazingly covered everything. For me, this is my last message to Gambians, especially on today's program, because we will continue this. And whoever is watching out there, guys, let's start the movement now. Reach out to us. Let's make this a possibility. But I just want to reflect back to 2016 during the impasse, the most critical stage of our country, which could have been doomed. We would have been in a rebuilding stage. But all didn't happen because of the brilliance and the convictions and the wisdom of Khalifa. Yes, lots of key players have contributed, but we knew he was our president at that time. We knew he was our savior. We knew he was our guidance. In fact, he earned not just himself, but the Gambia a big name and respect. First ever, a dictator was defeated through the ballot box. We should not underplay that significance. We should not underplay the role that Khalifa played in that. One of the things I learned during that was one of the interviews he had as the spokesperson of the Coalition 2016 with Christiana Amanpo of CNN. Guys, go and watch it. The respect and the language, the tone, and the normal how he delivered that message to the international community. I sat down there, I was like, the same thing Pasamba said, this guy must be a president of our country. And that is where everything started. I remember 2016, just after the December, flights were stopped because our man refused to go. I booked my ticket to go, but flights resumed just around the independence time in February. And there was I sat on the flight 6 hours into Gambia, and I was thinking, this journey, I want to meet one person and one person only, and say thank you to this person. And this was Khalifa. Kex is my witness. I reached out to Kex. I said, I want to not even meet him. I just want to and say thank you for what you've done for us. And my whole journey and trip, I wanted just to say thank you. And that's all I wanted to achieve in that trip. When I spoke to Khalifa on the phone and I started to say thank you, he stopped me. he reversely thanked you back to me and us, the diaspora, and all Gambians that has contributed to make that changes. So he refused me to thank him. So that's Halifa for you. That's our party. That's our leaders in Gambia. We know what we got to do. Let's go and do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful night. Viewers, we'll be back here and we promise to translate some of these messages into our local languages, Wolof, Pular, and Mandinka. Until we catch up again, have a wonderful night.